Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing Tin Helm. This is a little mint tin game from Jason Glover, and it's a dungeon crawler. So let's have a look. Alright, let's have a look at Tin Helm. This is another mint tin game from Jason Glover. These are not available on your usual FLGS. You have to get them on Game Crafter, so I got one for Christmas this year. So let's have a look. Tin Helm is a little mint tin dungeon crawler. And so basically it's trying to give you kind of an old school dungeon crawl experience while also fitting in that tiny little mint tin and having these little tiny components. Like most classic games of this nature, you are going to choose a race and a class. So basically you start by deciding if you want to be a crowling, a gnome, a merfolk, or a human. And then once you pick one, let's just say I'm going to be a crowling because birds are cool. Then you flip all of these cards over. And then you choose whether you want to be one of the professions on the back. So you can never be a crowling footpad, but you can be crowling anything else. And so let's say that I want to be, I don't know, a crowling alchemist. Why not? Once I've decided to be a crowling alchemist, then I set my base health, so 8 plus the 3 on my profession card, so 11. This one goes to 11. I set my starting energy, so 8 plus 4 is 12. And I do not start with any food, and that's going to be something crucial to think about while I am playing. I also have a special ability. Once per dungeon level, while in combat, I can flip a single die to the reverse side when determining damage. You're going to see how useful that is when we talk about how combat works. So basically, you choose your race, you choose your class, and then we're essentially ready to go. The goal of the game is to find 3 shards before I either die or go through 5 levels. So if I die, I've lost the game. If I go through all 5 levels and I still haven't found all 3 shards, I also lose. I just ran out of time. So this is 5 levels of me progressing through this set of 12 cards. But even though there's only 12 cards and there's only 6 rooms you're going to visit per level, there's a lot of surprise and interest in there, which we're going to talk about. So let's say that we started our little quest and I'm going to look at the kitchen. So I can decide, do I want to go in the kitchen? I know I'm going to face an enemy from this symbol here. I also know that there's going to be a rest by the fire. So even if the enemy kind of gets me a little bit, maybe I can rest. Okay, sure. You know what? I got this. We're going to try this kitchen. So I'm going to take the kitchen and flip the old well to the back. And now, based on these symbols, I know what I'm going to run into in the kitchen. So the enemy is going to be a watcher. And I'm going to find that in the enemy deck and bring it out and fight it. Let's say that I decided I did not want to go in the kitchen. What I would do is I would flip it to the back. And then I would go to the old well where I'm still going to have to fight a monster. And I have water, which is an opportunity to fish for food. So, yay, I can still fight a monster, but this time it's different. It's going to be the dark rats. Because what the symbols mean corresponds to the back of the card that you're actually working with. And so there are 12 cards in here, but it's going to be 6 rooms with a corresponding set of symbols to resolve. And then what's really fun is that as you go through the encounters and you open different chests, one of the chests has a shard in it. One of the encounters gives you a chance to get a shard. There are a number of ways to actually get what you need, but it's going to be emergent through the gameplay. And as you go through the levels, you might start having a sense of like, ooh, I know what's around here. And you can try to set yourself up to get what you want. As you progress through the levels, you're going to need to eat periodically because otherwise you're going to go hungry and get hurt down there in the dungeon. Food is also interesting because you can spend additional food to change your energy or health levels. So if you want some health back, you got to eat. If you want some energy, got to eat. Sounds reasonable. And then energy is kind of an interesting stat in here because energy is something that you can commit to increase your odds of success. So let's just look on the enemy deck for a sample monster. Let's just grab the dark rats. So you just go through. Here we go. Dark rats. So if it's not I'm going to fight them, they have 2 health plus the level I'm on. So the dark rats have 3 health. They do not have any defense. They don't add anything to their die rolls against me. And they give me a favor from over here when I defeat them. I also gain a food when I beat them because rats. Delicious. But the way that combat works is basically you roll dice. And the difference between the dice is how much you hit. So that was a 6 and a 4. That would mean that I hit the dark rats for 2. And that's just a base attack. However, if I wanted to commit some energy, I could spend the number of energy indicated in these boxes to do additional damage on top of what the dice said. But you have to be careful because you're still gambling a little bit. Because your base damage is based on the difference between the dice you roll, if you roll doubles, that means that you've missed. Your base damage is 0, and then all of your energy also goes to waste. So this is a relatively simple game where you just choose what you want to explore, resolve all the symbols, and then hope that you maybe find some shards. But as you can probably guess, there starts to be a lot more to it. How much energy do I commit? Do I save my energy for later? You're really never going to have as much energy as you do right at the beginning of the game. So how much of it should you expend now? Where do I think I'm going to find the things that I need to get shards? What do I remember from my last time through the dungeon? All of these things are going to come into play as you work your way through this crawl. And of course, you can try different race and class combos to keep that aspect of the game spicy as well. All right, so now for some final thoughts. I think that Tin Helm is a lot of creativity in a really small box. I think that having played both this and Gate at this point, I'm seeing a lot of consistency and good ideas in Jason Glover's designs, and I really like seeing that, especially across different game styles. Tin Helm is particularly interesting because I think that it is really clever to see so much dungeon crawl happening in a little deck of 12 cards, plus enemies and loot and trackers. So the fact that you're really only seeing like 6 rooms each level, that seems like it wouldn't be enough. And I think after a while it isn't, but for the first several plays, it's really going to see you through because those different combinations of rooms and then symbols on the back of the room cards, that really adds a lot of variety and interest to this game. And I think that even when you get to the point where you've kind of started to memorize what's on the back of some of these cards, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In a way, it gives the game more of a puzzly aspect where you're trying to kind of figure out what you should do. Like, am I remembering that correctly? Is there a combination that I can set up that is going to help me more than other possible combinations? And, you know, even when you know what's on all the cards, that doesn't actually mean that it's going to go very well. And so, you know, that's part of the fun of the game. I also really liked the way that dice were used in combat. Focusing on the difference between the dice and being able to commit energy actually added a whole lot of interest to combat that is essentially die rolls. Being able to pay attention to, you know, oh gosh, doubles is a miss. I hope I don't roll doubles. But then also thinking like, ooh, do I want to commit energy? Do I want to commit it now? Do I want to hang on to it? Because I know the monsters are going to have better health later. You know, should I use food to give myself energy or health? Or should I hang on to my food? There's a lot of different stuff to think about as you go through, even in the combinations of race and class that the game offers. I feel like there's just a lot going on there, but in a really, really good way. That said, this game is, again, a little bit limited in the sense that there are only so many monsters you can encounter. There are only so many kinds of loot that you're going to be able to find. After a lot of plays, it stops being surprising and starts being a little more puzzly. So if you're willing to kind of convert from adventure into something where you kind of know the map already and you're just trying to manipulate how the game goes, then maybe it'll have more longevity for you. But if you wanted surprises, then it runs out of them fairly quickly. That said, again, especially because of the mint tin constraints, I think these really show off that Jason Glover has a lot of talent as a designer. I am not sure that the mint tin fixation is really the best thing long term for these games because I think that there's so much going on in this constrained space that I can't help but wonder what would happen if they had more space. But overall, if you're looking for something that's portable, something that is quick to learn, something that plays quickly, and something that has really kind of an appealing old school style, then I think that the games in this little tin series are going to do it for you. So I'm really glad I played Tin Helm. I don't know if it's a long-term keeper, but I'm definitely going to have it around for a while. I'm filming this the day before I have to go back to work, boo, so I might put it in my desk for my lunch break and just kind of see how often it comes out. But I'm really glad I asked for this game for Christmas. I'm really enjoying it right now, even if it doesn't stay forever. And if you're looking for a relatively affordable, interesting little solo experience that supports an independent designer, I don't really think you can go wrong with Tin Helm. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and if you're feeling really generous, please give to the Patreon. I'm currently testing out new equipment, so hopefully I will get better with it soon. Thank you so much for your patience, and most of all, happy gaming.